Hey, it's Ben Rufana, and today I'm going to address a subject that I've never spoken about before, and yet it's crucially important because it affects your health, your well-being, how you feel about yourself, your physical appearance, and it's that of dental hygiene, or more specifically, taking care of your teeth and gums. Now, many of us were never really taught how to appropriately care for our teeth and gums, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that a lot of people just don't know how to do so. Unfortunately, we see the evidence of this all the time. You see people and their teeth are rotting out. They end up, with all kinds of cavities and root canals and having teeth extracted and crowns, and yet so much of that can be avoided, at the very least minimized, if we learn how to appropriately care for our teeth and gums. So let's start out with the foods that we're consuming. I had a housemate years ago. He's a dentist. Now he's retired. We were talking at one point, and he was describing that when people are drinking Coca-Cola, other carbonated drinks, they contain enormous amounts of sugar. I mean, I don't remember how many spoonsful of sugar that are contained in one can of Coke, but are any of these other carbonated drinks, but it's a lot. It's this like sugary, acidic solution. As my former housemate was describing, he said it just bathes the surface of the teeth, and not just the surface above the gum line. It's going down underneath the gum line. And so it's basically eating away and eroding the teeth. I mean, this stuff you can dump it into the toilet, which would be a much better use for it. and it will actually clean the inside of your toilet out. You can experiment if you want to, but abstain from this garbage. If you're eating dried fruits and stuff, well, they are healthier, but you want to be mindful whether it's raisins, or peaches, or mangoes, prunes, or dates, or any of these dried fruits, because they are highly concentrated sugar. They are a bit healthier, but eat them in moderation. In any case, they really stick to your teeth, and when that concentrated sugar is sticking to your teeth, it's eating away at the surface of your enamel, and you're more likely to get cavities. It's not just dried fruit, also things like wheat. So if you're eating lots of bread and bagels, for instance, it's sticking to your teeth. It's getting down in between your teeth as well. As food remains stuck to your teeth, in between your teeth, then bacteria is accumulating, plaque, and even worse, tartar is building up on your teeth, especially on your gum line. Basically, the bacteria is forming its own housing colonies throughout your mouth with that accumulation of tartar. So you need to get rid of that. Ideally, I suggest that you start out every day, that you brush. Every time you eat, you need to be brushing. When you brush, you're getting that food residue off your teeth, at least a good bit of it. But brushing alone really is not enough, because if that's all you do, a lot of food is still stuck between your teeth. So I recommend that you floss whenever you eat. Maybe you think that's too much trouble, but when you think about it, I have a few notes that I've taken here. If you, when you require fillings, it may cost less, small town dentist, not necessarily. Lots more if you're in the big city, though, usually. Amalgam fillings can cost $50 to $150, somewhere in there, in that range. So the amalgam fillings contain mercury. Mercury is a neurotoxin. That is highly toxic. You're much better off getting the tooth-colored resin fillings. But those are more expensive. That's going to run you anywhere from $90 to about $250 per tooth. That's just one tooth. And if you don't have dental insurance, that's coming out of your pocket. Even if you do have insurance, you still have to pay a deductible. But it gets worse than that, because if you're really neglecting teeth, your dental hygiene, then you could end up requiring root canals. Root canals can run you anywhere from $600 to $1,400 per root canal. Crowns, I think those are like $800 to maybe $1,200, or maybe as high as $1,400. If you require dental implants, what is that? $3,500 to $6,000. Yeah, I'd much rather endure that little minimal inconvenience of added brushing and flossing rather than to have to pay so much money to the dentist. And plus, you have to go through all these horrific dental procedures, and not only does it cost a lot, but your mouth ends up looking terrible and you feel subconscious. You don't feel comfortable smiling. Now, brushing and flossing are definitely important. One thing to keep in mind is that commercial toothpastes are generally sweetened with artificial sweeteners like saccharin and sorbitol, and look it up because they do have a lot of harmful side effects. And speaking of sweeteners too, I forgot to mention that a lot of people are drinking Diet Pop thinking that, oh, I'm not getting the sugar, but Diet Pop contains aspartame. Look that up as well, because aspartame is also a neurotoxin. People who drink large amounts of Diet Coke have experienced anything from vision impairment, blindness, development of brain tumors, skin lesions, so highly toxic. So really need to be paying attention to what you put into your body. Now, brushing and flossing are critically important, but despite that, if we're eating like dried fruit, nuts such as almonds, pecans, walnuts, olives, there's still a lot of food that actually remains stuck, especially between the teeth. So I highly recommend that you get one of these deals. It's a water flosser. It's made by Waterpik. I've seen them as cheap as $69. Maybe they run up to about 80 something. These things are amazing. I mean, you use a water flosser and you'll experience a whole deeper level of clean, much greater than you've ever experienced before. I mean, it just literally blasts the garbage out of, from between your teeth. It does wonders in terms of like cleaning up all that stuff that generally gets left in your teeth. The food's accumulating and you're getting all this plaque buildup, and tartar is even worse. Important, you want to prevent that from happening. When you use you brush, you floss, you use a water flosser, that's going to cut down on the number of visits to the dentist. At least you won't require visits quite as often because you're going to be cleaning out a lot of the garbage that builds up. I do recommend, however, that you make regular visits to your dentist. See your hygienist for regular periodic cleanings, because without that, yes, the plaque, the tartar is going to be building up, and when that happens, you end up with inflammation, receding gums. If you're developing cavities and if they're not filled, those cavities can progress, and so that you end up requiring either a root canal or crown, or at worst extraction or something. As far as toothpaste, my two favorites are Natural Dentist Charcoal Whitening. I just like the taste, and also Desert Essence Activated Charcoal Toothpaste. And these contain like essential oils. So these essential oils are really good, have healing properties and help to maintain the health of your teeth and gums. Well, these are my favorites. You can choose what you want. I recommend that you go to Vitacost. I'm not getting paid by anyone for making this. I'm just recommending what I find most helpful. But Vitacost sends out coupons periodically, 10%, 15%, and when you first sign up, they send you a 20% coupon. So really give some thought to what supplements do you want? What is it you'd like to have? Which vitamin and toothpaste? And Vitacost, I think they have something like about 10, 15, maybe 20 pages of different toothpaste. So you can look through all these varieties. I mean, there are those with tea tree oil and Himalayan sea salt, just much healthier choices. In addition to that, there's also several products that I'll recommend. You could also get this mouth rinse. It's called Perio Bright. Perio Bright is amazing in terms of cleaning up the unhealthy bacteria. It also contains essential oils, and so that will help to reduce the accumulation of plaque, tartar, reduce the inflammation in your gums. So highly recommend this. Another product is Uncle Harry's Liquid Remineralization. I hope I'm saying that right. Again, Uncle Harry's Liquid Remineralization. The best deal I found on this stuff is on a site called smallflower.com. Again, I will put the links below to these products. Read the reviews on this stuff. I mean, they are absolutely amazing, but they do help you to get rid of or to reduce, eliminate inflammation, bleeding gums. This is said to strengthen your teeth by helping to restore your tooth enamel. So I highly recommend this Liquid Harry's Remineralization. It's critically important to take care of your teeth and gums, and you're going to look a lot better. You're going to feel more confident to smile at people. Your breath is going to be smelling a lot better. You're going to be digesting your food better. All these things are crucially important. We need to be taking care of our teeth and gums. One final thought that I wanted to leave you with before I publish this video is that for possibly thousands of years within Ayurvedic medicine, and maybe in other cultures too, there were practices such as oil pulling, whereas they would take something like sesame oil, I think other kinds of oil. More recently, people are using coconut oil, and they're swishing vigorously for 5-10 minutes or so. They're saying that it pulls a lot of the bacteria out of the gums, and that reduces infection and reduces the buildup of plaque and tartar and stuff. I only found that to be marginally effective. I wasn't that impressed with the results. But what I did find is that when I do the same practice, I use the Perio Bright and also using the Uncle Harry's Liquid Remineralization. And I do the same practice with the Perio Bright, taking a sip of it and swishing back and forth somewhere 5 to 8 minutes. The same with the Liquid Remineralization. This would be like, they say take, I forget whether it's 5 or 6 drops. I actually use 14, so it's stronger concentration. So doing that, 5, 6, 8 minutes. If you combine it with using the water flosser, use the water floss, use the water flosser first, and then afterwards use the Perio Bright and Uncle Harry's Liquid Remineralization. And if you're struggling with a lot of these periodontal issues, bleeding or receding gums or infection or any of that, this will do wonders to clean it up. My phone's ringing. I have someone just showing up for an appointment. I have to get that. See you later.